Huge bombshell for Mercedes, after new evidence that will change everything. So we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Mercedes news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is Hamilton reveals emotional feeling when Mercedes F1 announced Antonelli. Lewis Hamilton has expressed that he ended up quite emotional when the Mercedes Formula One team announced that Andrea Kimi Antonelli will replace him in 2025. The long-anticipated news that Antonelli will take the seat that Hamilton is vacating when he moves to Ferrari once this season ends. Hamilton sent shockwaves through the F1 world before the season started when he opted to activate a break clause in his Mercedes deal to agree a switch to Ferrari. The Britain's period with Mercedes is both the longest-serving and the most successful the series has ever seen, with 6 drivers' titles and 83 wins arriving since 2013. However, that successful partnership has 9 races remaining, as Hamilton has signed a multi-term contract with Ferrari as he continues to hunt a record 8th title. Despite having been told in advance that Antonelli would become his successor, Hamilton has recounted how the announcement release became a surreal moment. I mean, I've known for ages but definitely this morning, I knew it would be announced this morning, and I definitely woke up and it was very surreal, he said. Just to have it officially confirmed my seat is going and that I've held on for it for so long. I was quite emotional this morning, but really happy for Kimi and for this team. I know Kimi is going to do a great job. Hamilton believes that Antonelli having a stable background and upbringing will be a help to him as he embarks upon his rookie F1 season with a race-winning team. He's a great kid and he's got a good family around him and a good head on his shoulders, he added. Very talented. He's going to do great. I'm very excited for him. Hamilton has proclaimed that the emotion regarding his impending Mercedes exit edging closer with each passing race has been prevalent throughout the campaign. Asked whether the emotion was starting to creep in since the season resumed last weekend in Zandvoort, Hamilton replied, "It's been there all year. Every single race we have turned up, and I love my team so much, and we have been through a hell of a lot together. So it will be emotional every single race. Because every race we do is the last time at that particular race, and every race we get closer and closer to the last time I'll be in a Mercedes. And that is tough. It's definitely going to be tough." The 7-time F1 champion has revealed his main aspiration between now and the season's end is to rediscover his one-lap prowess that has been absent this term. "My focus now is to try and do the best job I can for the team and finish on a high," he continued. "I've got to find myself for qualifying somehow. My race pace is great. I've just got to figure out how to get back to my old self." With 8 races to go, Lewis Hamilton's farewell at Mercedes is drawing ever closer. Next season, the 7-time world champion will make the infamous move to Ferrari, where he will become Charles Leclerc's teammate. The Italian Grand Prix was the last European race of the season, so Hamilton is already slowly starting to say goodbye to the team he has won 6 drivers' titles with. "Leaving Monza, it hit me that it was the last European race this year," Hamilton revealed on Instagram. "The last time I'll be in my room in engineering that's been my home for 12 years. This is such a unique time in my life, one that continues to bring out a lot of emotions. What I feel the most is pride and gratitude. The memories will last forever, as will the memories I make next year," Hamilton concluded. Hamilton joined Mercedes in 2013 as Michael Schumacher's successor. Entering the hybrid era in 2014, Mercedes immediately built a rocket of a car. Hamilton struck immediately and became world champion in 2014 and 2015. In total, the Briton won no less than 6 world titles and 84 Grand Prix victories for Mercedes. The second story is Mercedes duo puzzled as W15 got almost slower over Italian GP. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell are struggling to understand why optimal performance eluded Mercedes over the Italian Grand Prix, as Formula One's pecking order looks unpredictable. Hamilton topped both the second and third free practice sessions at Monza, as well as Q2, but he and Russell ended up qualifying 6th and 3rd respectively before finishing the Monza race only 5th and 7th in that order. Hamilton was just 22.8 seconds shy of race winner Charles Leclerc, but said that Mercedes was suffering more degradation, as well as generally lacking 1 or 2 tenths per lap in race conditions. Asked about the W15's balance, the 7-time world champion added, "It was okay. It was nothing special. You're either graining the left front or graining the left rear. We just didn't have the pace. We have to go and look and try to understand why. Also, because we looked better on Friday, we got almost slower through the weekend, or others got faster, or we were too light and they were heavy, who knows." Russell's relatively poor result was mostly down to an error in the first corner on the opening lap, which forced him to take to the escape road and immediately dropped him to 7th. Losing a huge amount of performance to front-wing damage in the wake of the incident, he had also had to make an earlier-than-planned pit stop. George Russell has been part of the Mercedes family for the better half of a decade. The British driver was promoted to the Silver Arrows in 2022 after 3 seasons at Williams. Now, with Lewis Hamilton moving to Ferrari next season, Russell will carry the mantle for the Brackley-based squad. After Hamilton's announcement at the start of 2024, Mercedes was forced to look for a suitable replacement. Toto Wolff expressed his interest in luring Max Verstappen from Red Bull. However, the Silver Arrows ultimately signed 18-year-old Kimi Antonelli. With Antonelli making his debut in F1 with Mercedes, George Russell will be the lead driver for the team. The Briton will need to establish himself as the team leader and build the team around him for the long term. Russell's current contract expires at the end of 2025. Toto Wolff has asserted the Briton and Kimi Antonelli are the future of the Silver Arrows. However, former F1 champion Nico Rosberg claimed that George Russell and Antonelli will have a shootout next season. The 26-year-old needs to deliver consistent results and outshine Antonelli from the get-go, as rumors have emerged that Wolff could try yet again to sign Max Verstappen for 2026. Subsequently, if George Russell fails to live up to expectations, Mercedes could simply sack him to make way for the 3-time world champion. Moreover, Mercedes understands that Kimi Antonelli will make some mistakes in his rookie season. This puts the burden on bringing results on George Russell. The 26-year-old has showcased glimpses of brilliance in the past. However, Wolff might not be ready to put all his eggs in Russell's basket if Max Verstappen becomes available. Certainly, George Russell has a lot on the line in 2025. The British driver will have no margin for error to ensure that he safeguards his future with Mercedes. Fans would hope that Russell brings in some great results for the Silver Arrows in the foreseeable future. The third story is Lewis Hamilton has humiliated critics who thought his F1 career is over. Lewis Hamilton took a big leap of faith to ditch Mercedes for Ferrari next season, but has not been afraid to take risks in the past, either after trading McLaren for the Silver Arrows just over a decade ago. The 39-year-old won his first world championship with McLaren, but took a gamble in replacing the retiring Michael Schumacher and racing alongside Nico Rosberg. The move was met with skepticism as the team had little history of success, but the Brit went on to claim 6 more titles under their brand. In his first season at Mercedes, however, Hamilton finished 4th in the standings. He claimed that the decision to leave McLaren was slated furiously, only to later receive vindication with his critics left with egg on their faces thanks after landing a further 6 world championships. Hamilton was asked on the Performance People podcast what the defining moment of his career was, only for him to explain that the decision to head to Mercedes amid criticism stood out. "It will probably have been when I decided to join Mercedes," Hamilton said. "I was in Thailand at the time, in between races after Singapore, and that's when I made the decision. And I was like, I want to take the leap of faith, and I'm going to go with it, regardless of what people say. Pretty much everyone told me to stay, but I went with my gut and my intuition, and it was the best thing for me. I was with a championship-winning team. I was with McLaren, which had such a great history. Obviously, Mercedes used to own half of McLaren, and so it was partly their team, but then they broke away and bought their own team, and as they were trying to ramp up, they weren't having a lot of success. I think they were the fifth or sixth best team at the time, so they were often finishing out of the top 10, struggling to get into the top 10. Hamilton even explained further that he was told by many that his career was over following the switch, only to emphatically prove them wrong. He added, "As a world champion, people were like, this is the worst decision you can make. This not a great team and your career is over." All the pundits, all the media outlets, all the fans, everyone was like, career's over. And then it went well, and everyone's like, oh, it's the best decision ever made.